back on the record in 349-743. Parties and counsel are present. I just have a couple more questions, and then I've jotted down some notes here. How did Melissa Kalodner get chosen to do the psychological or the play sessions with Hayden?
She was on the VOCP list by CPS. So since they refused to give any merit to the lady that was covered by both of our insurances, Javi requested that we go back to the VOCP list and pick someone on there and use the VOCP that I was provided by the state or the city to treat him, since she thought that he definitely needed protection, and because they were refusing to hear what she had to say. So I found the name off the list.
Did the two of you join?
No, she did not.
No, what she's saying is that Javi said he needs some play therapy. She chose this person off of the list provided by CPS. This person came from the CPS list.
Located in Henderson.
And Javi was chosen by?
The insurance company. The recording is done on the insurance company. I told everyone to obtain it. It's the only person that was licensed to treat his alleged condition, and that's who they provided on both of our insurances. One person, and that was her.
And he's been seeing that Javi since July.
Through October, and then October is him transitioning also with Melissa Kalodner from the VOCP list provided by CPS.
What Javi told her to do.
What do you mean he's the only one that's licensed to do what he?
Javi is a woman.
No, we're not talking about. We're talking about.
When I contacted the insurance company and I said I need to find a therapist who can treat children who have had sexual abuse, they provided one name. They go, well, we don't really have any. We have a lot of social workers. We do have one. It's a doctor, and these are her qualifications. She's the only one that meets it, and that's who I went with. When I said I needed someone from the list, they said you'd have to contact us, try to contract it out with your insurance company, and that's going to take a while. We didn't have a while because on 7/7 they had done the no contact and had him go to counseling, which I requested that he do because he did not want him to. Over the years I've tried. So I had to get the only person I could, and she was very well with him, and she does do well with him.
So Javi, she was chosen by you based upon your insurance company, and he had no participation in selecting Javi to engage in this therapy.
He wasn't allowed to, just as I wasn't with Ponzo.
Right. It was per CPS to go out and find a counselor. They told her, go out and find a counselor.
But they didn't tell her to find Melissa.
They didn't tell her to find a counselor that could deal with sexual abuse.
No, they did. Jesus Martinez.
It
wasn't unsubstantiated. They had a plea deal in September, so there was an agreement of guilt of some sort. They just lessened it because there was a lot of game playing.
Do you have insurance available? No, you can't participate. Sorry. Do you have insurance available?
Yes, sir.
What insurance do you have?
Sierra Health of Nevada.
And what is your insurance?
United Healthcare through HPN.
United Health?
Through HPN.
Which is the same.
Let me tell you how I see my role. Is number one, I need to ensure that this child is protected. So I'm more or less here on his behalf. If the allegations of sexual abuse are true, then I would be derelict in allowing the plaintiff to have any sort of unsupervised visitation until some safety plan was put in place. If the allegations are false, I would be derelict to allow the child to remain with you until some safety plan was put in place. There is no doubt that either because the child has been sexually abused or because he has been led to believe he's been sexually abused, and I don't know which one is true, that he is suffering immensely. So, number one, I need to try to minimize that suffering. Quite frankly, I reviewed the J case and the findings and the negotiations that were made in that case. And I handle TPR cases, termination upon rights cases, from CPS. So I'm familiar with the prosecutors that handle those cases. And in my opinion, the fact that a charge was brought is not unusual, because they err in the best interest of the child. I would rather bring a charge and later have it dismissed than ignore the situation. By the same token, if they believe that they have sufficient evidence to prove a case, they do not enter a further proceedings negotiation. They do not say, if they can prove it, they do not say, we're going to allow the perpetrator to participate in counseling and then dismiss the case. So it's really a mixed bag in terms of drawing any conclusion from what happened in the CPS case. Either A, that a charge was initially filed, or B, that it was later negotiated and resolved. Quite frankly, the two actions are absolutely inconsistent with each other. But they, like me, are acting in the child's best interest until they feel that they have enough information to know, can they proceed, or do they need to resolve it in some manner that is ultimately going to provide benefit to the child, whether it's necessary or not. So I'm not making any conclusion one way or the other from the CPS actions. Unfortunately, a 6-year-old is not in a position to come in here and testify and tell me what did or didn't happen or who's doing what. I hope the two of you have some money, because it's going to take a while to get to the bottom of this. I need 3 people that are independent and acting as my agent, and not as your agent, and not as your agent. The way we're going to come to a result that both of you will accept, if not necessarily agree to, is that if you believe the process has been fair, and as long as the two of you are choosing who's going to do what, and the two of you are communicating with whomever you communicate with, neither one of you are going to accept the outcome. And my job is to make sure that the process is fair, that the outcome, although it may not be something you agree with, at least the outcome was a fair one based upon the evidence that's presented and not based upon any activity that may have taken place influencing the outcome. As far as I know, Dr. Javi may be absolutely correct, but he will never believe it, because Dr. Javi was chosen without his input, and I suspect he's had very little input to the doctor in coming to the conclusions that she came to. I am at a loss as to finding 3 independent. What I intend to do is A, order that both parents submit to psychological evaluations, so that I can get a reading from someone trained in the field to determine if there's any latent tendencies or any conduct, anything in the way that the two of you parent that could be influencing Hayden in the statements that he's making. And so that's 2 experts. The third expert is someone that can review everything that has taken place to date, number 1. But number 2, establish a rapport with Hayden, so that person, separate and apart from any information that may be provided to that person by the litigants, can advise me what's true and what isn't in terms of what's happening.
Does this child need a guardian ad litem? Is that what you're looking for?
Sorry?
Are you looking for a guardian ad litem?
I'm not so much looking for a guardian ad litem. I am, as an independent expert, child development, child behavior, kind of at a loss as to what exactly I'm looking for, but someone that can discern truth from fantasy.
Can Miss Cohen select 3?
Sorry?
Does Miss Cohen have any names that she would like to present?
Well, since this is going to be pretty costly, both of you are going to need to consult with your insurance companies to see who's available.
Insurance companies won't cover it if it's court ordered.
I'm sorry?
Insurance companies will not cover it if it is court ordered.
Yeah, they will.
Well, then maybe I give the two of you through counsel an opportunity to come to an agreement, and I suspend the other aspect of this until the insurance companies have an opportunity to get involved.
The insurance companies won't.
I'm not. If I don't order it, you're telling me
They have to pay for it. It has to be divided.
That's fine. I'll pay mine.
It's sad but true.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard enough from both. Quite frankly, I don't need to get into
And Your Honor,
my opinions as to what's been presented, but
if Miss
there's enough here on both sides of the fence for me to be flabbergasted and not be able to go one way or the other.
So, you asked us before you left to come up with a suggestion or a recommendation. My recommendation, as long as neither one of the parties live with their parents or aunt and uncle, that perhaps the child should live with 1 week with Mr. Johnson and 1 week with the aunt and uncle. Allison and Greg are both professionals. Allison was a school teacher, so she taught first grade for 6 years and third grade for 2 at Lamping Elementary. They have an extra room at their own. He also works for the family business, but he's a realtor as well. She's a stay-at-home mom. And Mr. Johnson, I don't know if he'd be willing to, but we know that he's a good man and that he loves Hayden very much as well. But they would be the supervisors, and that's the only thing I can think of other than foster care, which is not what any of us want, at least in the interim.
So I've heard your choice.
There's been no allegations against mom. You have a PhD in society.
There are plenty of allegations in this case.
Not that she has done anything wrong as far as parenting. Not that she has put this child in harm.
Let's assume for the sake of argument that none of this happened. And this child has been temporarily with dad, but primarily with mom. And none of the allegations occurred. I could infer fairly reasonably, since he hasn't named anybody else, that the allegations are coming from mom. And if that's not harming this child, I don't know what is.
Except CPS doesn't allege that. The doctors don't allege that. The only person who alleges that is the person who's being accused of doing this himself. No allegation that mom has done this. Additionally, we have the history of a child who has tried to hurt himself. Plus, as we noted in our opposition, that he's gotten in trouble in school for touching another little boy, for trying to choke another child.
And saying it was a game.
We're trying to get that
I'm
information.
aware of all that.
Well, what I'd like to see is have the child stay at his home with mom and her family. There's been no allegations that her family has made claims against him, but we know that mom has said, as far you know what I mean, they have a good relationship. They have a good relationship. They don't have a good relationship.
I'm not
So
family.
let the child stay in his home, the home where there was primary physical custody even before this all came up. Let him stay in the home. Dad can be there and supervise. She's in the home with her parents. They're there supervising. Since these two have a good relationship, let him supervise his visitation. Then you won't have the problem.
Mr. Johnson, you live together?
Yes, with her mother. Anyone else?
Brother.
Her mother and brother.
Is that true? I thought she lived alone.
She lived alone, used to. She lives with them now because since this whole thing started, she had to leave her job and she lives with her parents now.
We're having to help her.
Sorry?
We're helping her out. Basically, and they know how I feel about them. I love them all. However,
No,
the way I feel about this here, Lil Hayden, to take him and put him, let's just say, in a foster home or anywhere other than where he can be loved and looked after by all of us, would be a mistake. And if his father or anyone sitting on that side, which I know they would not, would think that would be in the best interest of Hayden, then that would definitely tell me something's wrong. First of all, Amber Lee did not.
Wait. I don't want to hear a long argument.
I'm not trying to argue with
Your
you.
daughter is living with you?
Yes. And the reason for this is because she had to take a leave of absence. Amber suffers with rheumatoid arthritis. So once you let people know that you have it, it hinders what jobs you get, whether people want to believe that or not. She did 4 years at Pepperdine University. She's a fantastic person. Chris knows that she's a beautiful, smart young lady. Bottom line is, she did not tell Hayden to say anything.
Wait.
And I'm
But
not,
just wants
I
to
know,
be
I know,
yes or
I
no,
know.
yes or no
What
question.
I'm trying to say is that I
I'm
think,
going to make that decision.
and that's fine.
The bottom line is that she's living with her parents.
Okay.
Hayden's living with them. He's safe.
I put him in a foster home before with those people.
Okay. Right now, under the parenting plan, it was every Friday?
Monday and Friday.
Mondays and Fridays in week 1. Friday and Monday, and then week 2, it's Friday and then overnight.
Monday, Friday, stay overnight Friday, return Saturday at 7.
Do you want me to read it from the order? If you look at page 3 of my opposition, it's just a bracketed. It's just right in there.
7 a.m. 7 p. So you would have them Friday at what time?
I would pick him up on Friday at 8 a.m., take him back Saturday night, 7 p.m.
He's in school, so you take him.
I would take him to school, pick him up from school.
That's not really the issue right now. He doesn't stay with his parents on weekends. Mondays and Fridays all day though. He has no more gonna do school. Unless you could try to set information for him. He could do it. They give you a computer that you have to use that is their stuff. It's a laptop, desktop.
All right, so it's Monday at 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then beginning in January of 2007, it's also Friday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And every other Friday, it's overnight
Till 7 p.m. the next day.
until 7 the next day.
From the 7 p.m. But he was in school, so we were coming back to say that our time was so limited that we needed to do something else.
So where do you work and what days do you work and what are your hours?
I worked Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and basically I took days off.
What are your days off now?
Now I work 7 days a week, just because I don't have my son.
So if you had your son,
I would take off any day I needed.
He works for the family business, so he has flexibility. Does that kind of cut it?
correct.
All right, both parties are also going to be ordered to file financial disclosure forms.
come to the office on that day and get one, or I can email it to you.
Why is Hayden homeschooled?
Because his average in school was a DF. He was not doing well. His father was coming up to the school. He had severe anxiety, and he was performing badly, getting it. And then his counselor had actually signed a release to talk to the school because she was concerned about his lack of friends and how he was doing.
Answer the question. But
Multiple issues.
just to reiterate, it is through the school district. It's not making up her own homeschool thing. It's a
K-12
school
program.
district program.
And he's required to log on every day, 6 hours, and visually with the school, microphone, camera.
So how long has he been in homeschooling?
2 months.
And what time do you have him logging on? And
About 9 a.m. is his first class, and then he takes a break and gets done about 2 to 3.
so he starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. When does he log off for the day?
About 3:30.
About what?
3:30, because he has a math class from 2:30 to 3:30.
And that's weekdays, Monday through Friday? It can't be done on weekends?
You could probably do some of it. Like, there's certain things you can do, but not the classes where you have to be interactive with the teacher.
Can we get him back into public school, please?
He was failing.
I'm not sure I want to do that. I mean, part of some of the
Not
fact
with her either.
allegations about misconduct in school,
Not with.
sexual abuse.
What did you say?
Switching schools behind my back, not at school.
That happened years ago. That's not what we're here for. They were part of the problem this year too. Stop it. Would you not speak to him?
Okay. I tend to agree with all of you, I think, that there's no point in causing more trauma on this child. I understand your argument, Ms. Fine, about assuming that your version of the facts is correct, that to allow the child to remain with mom is going to continue to allow whatever poisoning, if in fact it's poisoning, the mass to continue. I'm not going to traumatize this child by uprooting him and placing him with some third party, no matter what the relationship is. I am going to enter a couple of orders. The first order is that we're going to come back here next Tuesday at about 2:30. And the first order is going to be that, and you're going to have to make this work, is that there will be visitation this Saturday and Sunday at Donna's house.
They have to do an orientation. They won't do it.
Sorry?
They have to do an orientation and they can't do it because it's too late. They only do it on Thursdays.
Well, their next available slot isn't until next Wednesday.
Are they going to do an orientation for both parents today?
Let me,
Or can we do open arms?
sorry?
Open arms. If we could call there, that could be a little bit more.
Where's that at?
It's over on the west side, but
Take a drink of water and then tell me
it won't work.
listen to your voice.
You should have forms. Your court clerk has forms for open arms.
I've never heard of open arms.
I don't really.
Is it? Hold on. Stop. You know what? That doesn't help us. Is that private or is it Fran or is it through?
It's through a church, and all the other departments I've been in have used them.
I've just never heard of it. I'm not saying it's not an option.
That's right.
Department F.
You know what? If I've got to call them and tell them to do it, I'll call them and tell them.
I can have my assistant get the number for you right now. Open
I'll
arms.
call the house, and as soon as I'm done, I'm going to call them. My intent is, I want their evaluation of the relationship between Hayden and the father on Saturday, based upon 2 visits on Saturday and Sunday. And then after we're coming back next Tuesday, and they're going to tell me how that visitation went. And then I'm going to make a decision based upon that as to what the next step is going to be
Without mom there.
without mom.
Your Honor, may I briefly just call my office? I think I might have a hearing, and I just want to make sure it's not downtown.
Yeah, that's fine. Do we have a number for Thomas's?
It's my understanding they'll do it for you. They won't be happy about it, but they'll do it.
I'm kind of used to that.
Hi, it's Leslie. Can
The
you pull up the
difference
calendar?
is that Open Arms does a full report.
Tuesday? 2:30. Do I have anything on the calendar? Okay. I don't think I am. Please. Yeah. Amber Jackson. Yeah.
With different practices. I need open arms. I need to know if they're available to do court-ordered visitation. The number for 415.
You have reached Donna South Central, a court-connected supervised visitation and exchange program co-located in the Family Mediation Center at 601 North Pecos Road. Your call is very important to us. If you are calling to cancel a visit or exchange, please leave the last name of the child and the date and time of the service you are canceling, and we will contact the other party. For all other calls, please leave a name and a telephone number, and someone will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you for calling Donna's House.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or hold for more options.
You could try the FMC number, and maybe they could.
I'll just take care of it afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, so the order is what time on Saturday, what time on Sunday? It's good. Your options are anywhere from noon to 5 p.m.
Sooner the better.
Can we do about 1? He has church on Sunday, so
1 o'clock?
yeah,
Both days?
that's fine.
But if they don't have anyone available,
Any time's that fine after.
You know what, why don't I just make it 2 to 3?
3? Okay.
I'll say 3 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday.
I have the person who runs Open Arms, and they might.
What?
Excuse me. The person who runs Open Arms, her name is Shonda, and her cell number is 415-1228.
All right, well that's good, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, but they have a different kind of format.
I'm gonna do Donna's house because I want someone available to tell me next Tuesday how it went.
He hasn't seen him unless it's been. And Mom's going to bring him, so can Grandpa bring him. Not
Well,
Mom.
if there's problems, then I'll address that issue. It's my intent that at least daytime contact be reestablished between now and whatever we're going to do. But there's been a prior judge who's felt that reunification therapy was going to be necessary. I guess I could do that, but that's just going to ultimately delay returning to some sort of scheduled visitation with the plaintiff. And if it's not going to be necessary, then why continue that process? Miss Cohen, your client wants to say something.
Don't.
Talk to her first.
You know what?
Your Honor, I'm going to encourage.
Her mother.
Right, Mr. Johnson can't do the drop-off. I'm going to encourage his wife to do the drop-off, so there's no question. I thought,
At Donna's house?
yeah.
But first we have to get the times.
I don't have a problem taking him.
Well, we don't want there to be
I've
any
taken him to
questions.
everything else.
It's 3:15. They're not going to be there. He's not going to get visitation.
You know what? They're going to get in.
Okay,
As soon as you leave here, you go down there.
we're on our way.
And if necessary, what's my chambers number? If necessary, Miss Fine, have them call me in my chambers.
I will be happy to do that. Would you like, is it just him alone, or can his parents come? The parents seem to have a good relationship with grandparents.
No, it's just going to be the father.
Okay.
The visitation at Donna's house is going to be with Hayden and his father.
Okay, we're going our way.
We'll report back on Tuesday as to how it went, and I'll determine if any sort of structured reunification is necessary, or if I can just simply return to the minimum of what was agreed to previously, excluding the overnight visitation conditions.
Tuesday at 2:03.
That's for the benefit of everybody.
Your Honor, would you like to hear from the doctors on Tuesday? Would you like to have?
No, we're going to be setting a full-blown evidentiary hearing because it's the only way. I'm not going to make a decision based upon the pleadings and based upon what's happened to date. We can schedule that on Tuesday.
And
Since I have no great list off the top of my head of what experts can be a reasonable cost or through insurance, perhaps you can come up with some plan.
I have a plan. My plan is that we get one. Do you have any names that you can throw out at 3?
I don't. I need to do some research to see who knows about sexual abuse allegations, and maybe we can find someone who knows about sexual abuse allegations and alienation allegations. I'm okay with one person. I just like them to be knowledgeable in the issues.
That's fine.
Your Honor.
Well, there's got to be two. There's got to be one. You can have one person do the evaluations of the parents,
Right.
and one person do the evaluation of the history to date, as well as further child interviews with Hayden.
Well, I know, for instance, Len Kite, has people in his office. I'm not saying Len Kite. I don't know if he's got the knowledge we need for this. But let's say Len Kite, I know he has people in his office he works with. So maybe it would cost us less if we did one office with multiple people. I don't know.
However you want to
Right.
revisit who the people are going to be on Tuesday.
Okay, and Your Honor, may I request a drug test of the plaintiff?
You know, yeah, I think he'll go along with it, and if it's negative, you want urine and hair, or just hair?
Hair is the most important.
Just one hair?
Hair.
And it's going to minimize cost, because if it's negative, or given the fact that he did submit to a test, and it was
Yep.
negative before?
Yep.
If it's negative again, she'll have to reimburse the cost.
Okay with that?
Why don't we have her advance it now?
Sorry?
Talking. Must be a reason.
Hair only?
Hair only?
And he needs to reimburse me for the dental.
That's really not an issue right now. You've never provided any evidence of the dental.
I know, I'll get it.
That's not ever getting
You have to go over there.
Okay.
And we'll leave the court date, the next court date open on the referral form. But when they have the test results in, they'll fax them to me. We will provide them to both counsel. All right, is there anything else at this point?
No. No, Your Honor. Thank you. I'll send my client down to Donna's house.
Let's go down to Donna's house. Need you to. You have to stamp this in. Otherwise, I'll go take it.
You have what? The stamp for the drug test? All right, I'll see you all back here on Tuesday.
Thank you, Judge.